Yo, what's good, everybody? I hope you guys had a great virtual spring break or whatever we want to call it. But we back, man, and we're gonna be doing things this week. A couple things coming on Thursday that might be familiar, maybe not, but Friday for sure. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna dive right in. But this is week 4, day 1 review video. So again, I want to encourage you to check the video out after you've done the work or while you're doing the work, whichever is easy for you. I just want you guys to keep working hard. All right. So here we go, man. Number 1, we've had this before. So it says, of what is the surface area of the cube that has the side length of 3 and 5/10 centimeters? Remember to use the formula 6 times the side length squared. So if we do 6 times the side length squared, we're going to have 6 times 3.5 times 3.5. Okay? So that's what we do. And then when we do 3.5 times 3.5, we get 12.5. Or I'm sorry, 12.25. That's right, my bad. 12.25. And then we take 12.25 or 12 and 25 hundredths and we times it by 6 because that's how many sides the cube has. We times it by 6 and we get 73 and 5/10. After we're done with all the math, we get 73 and 5/10, and that's going to be B. Okay, so that's B. All right, so check it. Number 2. I'm sorry, man, the video comes out like this, but it's on my phone, so y'all gotta forgive me. Number 2, which of the following expressions are equivalent for any value of x, right? So remember, we got to think about what x is and then find the value of it, looking at each one. So if we look at that, we don't have to really, we could just, you can hear my voice, but I'll write the response. So it's 5x plus 25. 5 times x is 5x, and then plus, that'll be 100. So it's not A. Okay, it's not A. B, 5x minus 5, and then 5x minus 1. So those don't match. Letter C, x plus 5 and then x minus 5. Those don't match. And then we have 10 minus 5x, and then we have 5 times 2 is 10 minus 5x. So let's go ahead and write that down. We got 10 minus 5x and 5 times 2 minus x, right? And so when we do that outside, right, remember that, it's going to equal the same thing, 10 minus 5x. And so these are the same. So therefore, it is D. Number 2 is D. All right, let's look at number 3. Let's do number 3. Moving right along, you guys are awesome. Number 3. If a cube has a side length of 2/5 of a yard, what is the volume of the cube? Remember that when we are finding the volume of a cube, we cube the side length or times the side length by itself 3 times, right? So we write that out. That's pretty helpful. You guys don't need me for that. So we have 2/5 to the 3rd power, okay? 2/5 to the 3rd power, so it's going to be 2/5 times 2/5 times 2/5, right? So that's what it should look like when we write it out. We multiply straight across, we get 2, 4, 6, 6, and then 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. So 6 1/25, which is, that looks like that is letter C. Letter C, right? You guys got that right. All right, number 4. All right, let's see if we can keep this under 11 minutes this time. Which of the following expressions is the same as 7u times 7u times 7u times 7u times 7u? Okay, so when we think about that, we write that out. 7u times 7u times 7u times 7u. Right, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No, that's 4. We need one more, times 7u, okay? So we have to think about it, like which one of the following expressions is the same. We're not solving it, it's just asking which one is the same. So when we think about it, we have 7 and then u and then 5, right? So 7u to the 5th power. because it's not 5 times 7u, because that'll just be 35u. So it's not a. It looks like it's going to be 7u in parentheses to the 5th power, like that, right? It's not, again, 7u times 5, so it's not c, and then it's not 7u to the 5th power, because 7u to the 5th power would look like this, 7u to the 5th power, and that would look like it's saying 7 times u to the 5th power. So it has to be this one, which would be b, okay? Not this one. All right, number 5. Which two expressions are equivalent for any value of a and b? So when we look at that, we have to think about which are the same, kind of like we did for number 2, which are the same. So let's look at each situation, 14ab plus 24a and 2a, 7b plus 12. So if we look at that and we wrote it out, 14ab plus 24a and 2a times 7b plus 12. So if we do that, that's going to be 14ab plus 24a. Right there. So they match. So that's A. We don't have to do anything else. So that answer is A. Okay? Pretty cool. Number 6. Number 6. So what is the greatest common factor of 49 and 98? So remember we talked about this before. When we talk about common factors, right, we have to think about what's common between the two numbers and what is the greatest number. So we think about all the factors of 49, and I'm thinking of 7, right? So we go up 7, 14, 21, 28, and so on, right? But when we think about the greatest number of those, if we do 49 plus 49, or 49 times 2, 9 plus 9 is 18, 8 plus 1 is 9, 98. So the greatest common factor between 49 and 98 is 49. And that's going to be D. All right. Number 7. Another cube with a side length. Okay, I think you guys can probably do this one by now. Cube has a side length of a 1/2 inch. What is a volume? Okay, so the volume of a cube, right? Remember the volume of a cube. Excuse me, I need to stay on the screen here. The volume of a cube is going to be 1/2. Right, you guys tell me to the 3rd, very good, and then we just do 1 times 3 is 3, and then 2 times 3 is, no, I'm sorry, 2 to the 3rd power is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8, so 3/8, right, and that looks like that would be C. Good job. Good job. Number 8. All right. Easy peasy. So which of the two, uh-oh, my battery's dying. We're back. Which of the two expressions are equivalent for any value of W? W equals W and W plus 4. No, that's not right. W, W and 4W. Okay, that might be right. And yeah, so we don't need to even look any further. W plus W plus W plus W and 4W. Those are the same. So that answer is B. All right, by now you guys should be blowing this out of the water. All right, number 9. Number 9. What is the surface area, SA, of a cube that has the side lengths of 6y centimeters? So surface area, remember we do the formula. What's the formula for surface area of a cube? You guys remember? Well, it is 6 times the side length squared, right? So when we have the side length, it's 6y. So we have 6 times 6y times 6y. Okay? So now when we think about that, we have to do 6 times 6 times 6 is going to be what? 6 times 6 is 36 times 6 is 216, right? So 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21. So 216, and then we have y squared, or y to the second power, right? 216y squared centimeters squared. And that's that. So which one is that? 216y squared centimeters squared. That is letter C. Good job. All right. And number 10. We are just about done, family. Number 10. Number 10. All right. So what is the value of the expression when A equals 4 5/10 and B equals -2? So we have to substitute the values. So 7A minus 6B plus 2. Okay, so now we plug in 7, put in parentheses, 4 5/10, and then minus 6 times -2 plus 2. So when we rewrite it, it looks like that. All right, so now we do 7 times 4 5/10. So let's go ahead and write that out. 4 5/10 times 7. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 4 is 28, 29, 30, 31. 31 5/10 minus, oops, actually it's not minus, because 6 times a negative 6 times a -2 is going to be a positive 12 plus 2. That's going to be 14 plus 31.5. And then we add that up, 14 over here. It's going to be 0.5. 561 5/10. Huh. And we don't see that, probably because they didn't do that, I bet. So let's see if they just did this as 6 times -2, which would be a -12, and that's 10. Yep, that's what they did. Well, as you'll learn in our algebra unit, that's not right. But it should be, and it looks like that's going to be letter B then at 21.5, because this should be 10. I'm sorry, this should be 6. That's just minus 12. So 12 plus 2. 6 minus 12 is going to be -12 plus 2. 12 plus 2, 10. And then 31.5 minus 10. Gives us 21.5, which is B. Sorry about the confusion on that problem, guys, but yeah, we'll get that sorted out. Again, that's it. Review the video as many times as you need to. Review the questions as many times as you need to. Whatever you need to do, do it as many times as you can to keep that practice going, because on Thursday when we come back together, we're going to have a different, it's going to be more like the distributive property. Like we don't have one of those, but we're going to be doing some distributive property, guys. So anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye.